you can change the colors straight away while you're trying it. Through your camera, you can change the patterns, you can change the colors. And why has it been so popular among the brands? Because they can track the colors and the selection of the users. So they can get analytics what the customers really like and what they want to order. And also that is great for production because that reduces waste.
And then you can see where is it going in the future. You would choose it and then you would just like 3D print it in your home.
Exactly. I mean, honestly, it's such an exciting time we're living in right now because we're at the beginning of this technology.
Right?
In fact, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen in the next 5-10 years. I think this is the right industry to be in today, especially for fashion. So many things are about to change, and we're like the pioneers.
The Anya's podcast is to inspire you and other women to reach new business heights. We are showing the human side of business and breaking the myth of overnight success. The Anya's encourages breaking barriers, fostering collaboration, and daring to dream big.
The community acts as a catalyst for personal and professional growth, providing a space where women thrive, innovate, and come to celebrate their achievements together.
Step into this inspiring new world with us and unlock limitless potential.
Hello and welcome to the Anya's podcast. Today, Lindsay and I are speaking with Alexandra Maslova, who is the CEO and co-founder of SEAMM Technology. This is a company that's in the intersection between fashion, tech, AI, and blockchain, and they are pioneers in Phygital Fashion. They also promote sustainability and ethical practices in the fashion business. Alexandra is a frequent speaker at conferences such as Paris Blockchain Week, Digital Couture Summit in Milan, and NFC Summit in Lisbon, where we also met. Welcome, Alexandra.
Hi, Monica. Thank you for inviting to your wonderful podcast. Hi, Lindsay.
You're so welcome. Well, first of all, what is Phygital Fashion?
Let me break it down. So what is Phygital Fashion? The word phygital comes from a combination of two words, physical fashion and digital fashion. I'm a big believer that digital and physical fashion should not stand apart, but should come as one thing, and that's why we called it Phygital Fashion. Phygital fashion is something as a physical object that has all the benefits of digital fashion. A physical item having a digital twin with digital fashion benefits such as NFTs, digital twins with a 3D render, AR lenses, game skins, and all other coolest things that digital fashion has to offer for today, which I'm happy to talk about during our podcast today and share some insights.
Absolutely. We're excited to get into it. And it's such a new term and it's such a new industry, which I'm sure is going to develop a whole bunch in the next few years. Yeah, so like I said, we met at NFC Summit here in Lisbon. And how was your experience and what did you do?
NFC Lisbon was wonderful for us this year. We had a big announcement during the conference. SEAMM presented its first digital product passport on Solana blockchain. That's a new product for us. And it was with big pleasure. We spoke about it during the conference on one of the panels. That was one of the main purposes of our participation. And also it was incredibly interesting to see what the industry has to offer. The fashion stage was very interesting with wonderful speakers from all around the world, from people from different startups, companies. It was interesting to see what is going on in the market, what trends we're here to see, and how we're going forward with the digital fashion industry. So how Web3 and Web2 are merging, what is happening with games, metaverses, with AI, with blockchain, and all the aspects.
Absolutely. It's all coming together. And I would say the fashion stage was the most interesting. It was like it was right in the middle of everything. And you were great, by the way. And it was really fun to see a bit of buzz coming back to crypto and blockchain and NFTs. And I think the fashion stage was really where it was at.
Thank you. That's
Yeah.
great to hear such feedback. We tried to make it really interesting. And I agreed. Fashion Stage was one of the most interesting. There were incredibly interesting people.
Yeah. Monica is also a fashionista. I have to brag on her a little bit. She is a model and she was on the cover of Elle Sweden. Yeah, I can definitely see that that was an area of great interest for her. And, just to
Thanks,
segue.
Lindsay. That was long ago, but yes, nevertheless, I worked as a fashion assistant at a company for a while, so I've had a little foot in fashion, you could say, for a bit of time.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Well,
so you know the industry quite well.
I would say so, yes.
I would say so too. And, speaking of conferences, it's a great place to meet people of all different backgrounds. And your background is one, I'm not going to read everything because you have such a great background, Alexandra, but I am going to read some of the highlights from your background just to share with our guests. Your experience and your, some of the great places that you have been at. But you are the co-CEO and co-founder of SEAMM Technologies, which, as you stated earlier, brings together both fashion and blockchain tech. You have experience in product dev, strategic growth, marketing, and community engagement. And like you said, you spoke on the DPP, or the digital product passport, which we're going to dive into later on, and how that can enhance the whole supply chain and transparency part within fashion. So interesting. And you have, spoken on stage at Paris Blockchain Week, NFC Lisbon, and you shared with us earlier that you were in Rome for a conference, and there's just going to be so many additional events. So if you guys see Alexandra, be sure to let her know you heard about her interview on the Anya's podcast. And yeah, I love that what you're doing within fashion really promotes the sustainability side and ethical practices as well. But that is not something that has been very transparent in the past. So it's so fascinating what you can do with blockchain. And I'm excited to educate more of our listeners about the technology, because I think media can spin cryptocurrency as one thing, but not everyone really understands what's happening with the tech side and what's being built within blockchain. So, thank you for advocating and speaking and just helping to get more people on board, and also hopefully building their own projects. I want to dive into where your love for fashion first started. I'm sure there's a good story there, and I'm sure you knew right away at a young age that fashion was where you wanted to work.
That is right. So at a very early age of 14, I knew I'm going to work in fashion. When I was young, the thing I loved in fashion was the visual aspect of it. When you're a young girl, you look through the magazines. I was a kid of the 90s, where we had those amazing magazines, Cosmopolitan, Elle magazine. So I was looking through them and I was like, wow, this is like a dreamland. This is so exciting. So fashion for me, it was something far away, like living in a dream world. I was looking at those beautiful models wearing those amazing clothes, all the new collections. And I thought one day I'm going to work in that industry. I'm going to be part of it. And 2 years later, the age of 16, I already entered the industry, starting with a small e-commerce store I had. Yeah, I had a small brand of mine. That's how the journey started. I was custom making jackets, and I was doing small leather goods like bags. I was also involved in production side. I was always curious to see how the industry works. And at the age of 19, I joined the Text Group. That was my first serious big job. And the Text Group is the company that owns Zara, Massimo Dutti's, Bershka, and the big brands. It was the marketing and PR department. That was extremely interesting. It was a serious job that gave me a lot. And at the same time, I was studying in uni. I was studying economics and marketing. 2 years later, I moved to London and attended Central St. Martin's, one of the best colleges in fashion in the world, the college where Alexandra McQueen went, Stella McCartney. It's a world famous university, University of Arts London. That changed my
that's
life.
really like, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just want to emphasize that's really like the creme de la creme if you're in fashion. Like that's the Harvard of fashion, basically.
And yeah, I was taught it's extremely difficult to get in, and I was so proud of myself because again, I came from a traditional education of like economics and marketing, where we were studying microeconomics and finance, and Central St. Martin's was a uni where you had to be so creative in order to get in. You had to think not just out of the box, but that was a completely different level. And I was very proud of myself that I got in and started to learn fashion communication. That did change my life because I started to see fashion in completely different ways. The main idea of the education was not to present a project with extremely high quality results. It was more about creating that new idea. It was about changing the industry. It was about challenging yourself and challenging the topic. The tutors were always curious to see how you're thinking, how you came up with this idea. And why I'm saying that changed my life is because that's actually at the end how I got into creating my startup, co-founding it. So after St. Martin's, I worked in other aspects of the industry, starting with, again, production, creating, doing post editing, working in production for photo shoots, video shoots. Then I ended up working in retail. I created e-commerce stores for some big multi-brand boutiques in London. Worked as a consultant. I worked for wholesale. So yeah, I would say that I was interested in every aspect of the industry of traditional fashion. And at one point, just about 2 years ago, I understood that fashion is facing quite big challenges, quite serious challenges. First of all, I've seen that fashion is incredibly slow to adapt to new trends compared to the other industries. So the new technologies that are coming up there, fashion is so slow. It's not always ready to change something. It's very difficult to, like, decision makers. It takes them years to change something. You know, fashion has been operating by the standard wholesale model for decades, and things are not changing that quick. So in order to implement new technologies, it also probably will take fashion a long time. So I thought that this is something I would actually like to change because fashion needs to change together with the world changing right now. Because if we think about our world and the way we shop, the way we live, the way we act, things have changed in the last 30 years. Because if before we used to shop in a way of, we were watching TV and we had those tele shops, right? I don't know if any of you remember, but I do. From my childhood, there was a woman sitting on the sofa selling you things. The other way to shop was to go to physical stores, right? Then we had what? Radio, where we had advertising where we could call and buy something. But nowadays, there are like many channels. We have internet. We live with our smartphones. We use social media. If before we were just a physical persona, now we are a digital and virtual persona as well, becoming like one. So it's a completely new way for us to live, to shop, and to act in general. So the industries need to adapt to those trends. So I thought that this is one of the challenges fashion is facing. And the other important challenge that I think is very important to change right now is fashion industry is facing the challenge of the environmental impact, excess waste, pollution, the use of non-renewable resources. And it's important to embrace eco-friendly practices and implement new practices to change this system. Because fashion is responsible for more than 10% of the of the carbon footprint. And I thought it was time to change something. And that's why I got interested in technologies and digital fashion. So that's how I got into SEAMM. That's how I got into Phygital Fashion, into digital helping physical fashion.
I mean, you addressed so many important points, Alexandra. Pollution, eco-friendly, the challenge to know what's going on in the supply chain. And so your story on acknowledging what's happening in industry, being apart from when you worked at Inditex and seeing from the inside, okay, these are issues that I'm inspired to take head on. I mean, do you think it's because you worked in the industry or because you were that early dreamer of, I just want to be a part of something, but I want it to feel good? What do you think really drove you to because it's not easy. It's not easy creating a company. And so there's tons of hurdles and mountains you have to cross. So what do you think drove you?
Both for sure. First of all, when you see the industry from inside, you see what's actually happening, because that beautiful facade that you see again in the magazine and social media, fashion is something incredibly beautiful, right? You just see that aspect of it. But when you work in the fashion industry, you see completely different things. You see the production waste. You see brands going bankrupt. You see people suffering, being underpaid. There are so many issues in the industry that you're only able to see if you work long enough in the industry. And you start from being an intern in a company and growing your path all the way up. That was one of the things why I came to this. And yeah, I always wanted to make a change. I think I was born I always wanted to be I was an entrepreneur. That's why when I was young, I started that brand. I was just curious. I was never afraid to fail. I was just curious to try. And yeah, I failed several times. That is completely normal. My path was not easy at all. It was ups and downs. Proud to say that I faced those challenges well. Happy to talk about it separately, about the fact that you see my career, it looks that it was always like going upwards. That's not true. Again, when I moved to London, as I said, yeah, I started at early age working in a big company. And then when I moved to London, for me, it was very difficult to adapt. It was a new environment. And I worked in retail, starting as a sales assistant. So again, my path was up and down. But I'm incredibly happy this all happened, because without doing that, I wouldn't be, again, able to see the real issues that the industry has right now and see how we can address them, how we can fix them.
Can you share with us any of the challenges or hurdles that you had to overcome when you started this journey of creating SEAMM?
One challenge that we are facing up until today is educating brands. I think it's completely normal when we're talking about technologies and innovation. That is normal because it takes time for the industry, for the brands, for the designers and users to understand those technologies, to get used to them. One of the main challenges is to educate brands and describe those technologies in a simple way so brands understand the value of them. They understand how it works. Because when we come to brands, or brands come to us, and we explain to them that, hey, there is a whole new world of digital fashion right now. There's so many things that have changed in the last 5 years in the industry, and we're happy to show you what can benefit your brand in particular. Because again, SEAMM offers several main products, and we have all the main features digital fashion has to offer at the moment. And brands sometimes they're like, okay, so why do we need a digital twin? Why do we need a digital product passport? Why blockchain? Why blockchain actually has been asked many times, but it's okay. It's normal. Again, fashion industry is a creative industry mainly. And the fashion industry is used to create clothes still in like traditional way. So we explain to brands the whole process, how digital fashion can make the whole path easier, starting with production, ending with disposal of the item. So that whole supply chain can be changed with these technologies for the best. It can reduce waste. It can help them create items that are needed to their consumers, to get to know their consumers better. There are so many benefits, but yeah, the challenge is that we need to educate brands. We need to explain how things work. And I think this will continue for a while. But the good thing is that we see that even like comparing to like a year ago, brands are starting to understand how it works. They're like, oh, right, we actually tried AR lenses. We know how that works. Okay, digital product passports. Okay, we heard about them. Yeah, we're happy. We're happy that they can add value to our product. We're happy that we can be part of those sustainability efforts. We want to be part of it. It's important for us. They're slowly changing. Yeah, slowly. But I see progress.
That's great. I mean, I think thank you for taking on the work of educating these brands and educating them about the industry because, that's what the Anyas tried to do. That's what Monica and I tried to do is educate people every day. And I feel like, we've been educating people since 2016 when Monica and I, first entered the industry, and it has felt slow, like you say, but that's what's most important is that the brands or the people that you're educating are responsive and they're making changes. They are understanding the importance of being, whether it's a sustainable brand or learning about this future technology. So I think that's great that you're seeing people respond.
I was just going to say, fashion is so slow, like you're saying, when everybody started to have website and offer online shopping, the fashion industry was like the last one to do it because a lot of the brands have that, goal heritage that they want to preserve. So maybe they thought it's not aligned with our history to be online, but the people that started early, they have such advantage over the brands that just came in like a few years ago. And these are big houses that never really translated. And yeah, so it definitely pays off to be one of the first ones to adapt and try some new things. So I just wanted to ask you more about SEAMM and your app and what are the kind of digital aspects to what your app offers.
SEAMM offers two main solutions right now. We have first of its kind fully phygital marketplace for emerging brands, where we have more than 30 brands signed at the moment. We launched it in February. And the second solution is a white label SaaS solution for brands that want to stand out. Both of the solutions offer all the main digital fashion features, which means that you can buy a physical item that has a digital twin. That's what we call a phygital item. Every single physical item has a 3D render. It has an AR lens. I'm sure many of you tried already AR. You can try it on your camera or you can try it in a mirror. So you can try the item on you. The other feature is in-game skins for games such as Roblox, Minecraft, metaverses like the Decentraland, Sandbox. I mean, gaming and virtual world is a big industry. And the other feature is, of course, you can exchange NFTs. You can give the items. It has different perks. You can join the loyalty program. And the newest feature that we introduced is the digital product passport, which we believe has a lot of value for the brands and for the end users. We believe that that's going to be the next big thing. So we help to merge Web3 and Web2 worlds. We merge traditional fashion, virtual fashion together.
Yeah, it's super fun. For example, if you would buy, well, let's say this blouse, then you would also have the digital blouse for your avatar and walk around with it. And yeah, I think it's also interesting how you can just maybe try different colors. You can have a picture of yourself or maybe a live video and try it on, and okay, maybe this color, you like that color, but then you realize it actually doesn't look that good on you. And I guess the customization is super cool as well. Maybe you can change different patterns, or sometimes it just seems like a good idea and then you try it on and you're like, that pattern is not great. And sometimes you see something that's not really great, but then you try it on and it looks good on you. So yeah, I like that innovation of making things easier.
Wanted to add about customization, because this is actually one of our main features, and as it has been very popular among brands and users. We just added the customization function when you're trying on the item through the AR. So you can change the color straight away while you're trying it. Through your camera, you can change the patterns, you can change the colors. And why has it been so popular among the brands? Because they can track the colors and the selection of the users. So they can get analytics, what the customers really like and what they want to order. And also that is great for production, because that reduces waste. First of all, the users, they're able to place a made to order. So the brand will produce a specific color.
Love it.
Of course, there's longer waiting time, but users are ready to wait a bit longer. And I think this is a great feature we're offering.
Yeah. And also, how many times have you wanted something, but it wasn't in your color? This happens to me often. Yeah, that's also nice to have that variety and choice. And then you can see where is it going in the future. Like you would choose it and then you would just like 3D print it in your home.
Exactly.
I mean, if we're talking about the future, right? So
I think honestly, it's such an exciting time we're living in right now, because we're at the beginning of this technology.
Right.
In fact, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen in the next 5-10 years. I think this is the right industry to be in today, especially for fashion. So many things are about to change, and we're like the pioneers, and it's so cool to be part of it right now.
And just what do you think is going to happen the next 5 years?
I think that, first of all, we will not separate digital and physical. I think this is all going to be just it's just going to be fashion in general. We're not going to say, hey, this is digital fashion, this is virtual worlds. It's all part of one ecosystem. I believe that the other thing that is going to go viral is blockchain, because there are a lot of benefits. Blockchain and fashion industry, again, is slow right now. It's adapting to blockchain, but there's so many benefits. It can massively benefit the industry with transparency of supply chain, with sustainability tracking, with authenticity and counterfeit prevention. There are so many benefits of it. That's why we placed one of our main digital product passport on blockchain. And I think that brands will be more open to new technologies. Again, as we said, yes, it's moving slow, but it's moving. The main thing is that we're seeing progress day by day. And I'm sure we're going to see more initiatives for brands. If we look 5 years ago, even when there was this boom in the beginning of digital fashion, and fashion was at the very early stage of adapting to new trends. We saw the 2021, we saw the NFT boom. We saw the metaverses. We saw the AR try-ons were just beginning to be a part. When was it? Back in 2019. And brands, they were like slow. They were like testing the water. They were like, okay, so what are we going to do? Then we had this idea of like, oh, we need to be there. And the main thing was the FOMO. They were just the fear of missing out. The brands were just worried that, hey, everybody's doing it, we also need to do it. But in a way, they were blind. They didn't know what they were doing. They just tried different options, mainly big brands, because luxury houses and big brands, they have the budget. So they're lucky, they're able to try the new trends. Now we can see that comparing to what happened 5 years ago. Now brands, they have a better understanding what they want, what their consumers want. They're not just trying different things because they're afraid to miss out. They have strategies. Many of those houses and big brands, they have digital and innovation departments. That is already a big change. They have strategies. They have budget. They know what they're going to do. They're open to new collaborations, to companies. They're exploring. And that shift is already fantastic. And again, just comparing to what happened 5 years ago now, it's big progress.
Yes, maybe you can speak about the Digital Couture Summit that you attended in Milan, and some of the brands that were there, and just your experience.
Yeah, sure. During the Digital Couture Summit in February this year, it was 21st of February. We were part of this event where we presented our Phygital solution. We were showing our marketplace with all the features, with all the benefits for brands. We also had some amazing immersive merchandising that we brought with us that people loved, because we had a real case showing how an item can be digital. So t-shirts we were gifting, they had digital twins. So once you scan the QR code, you got the access to all the cool digital experiences. You got the game scans together, the AR try-ons, and you can share it on social media, gift it, and get other personal benefits. And together with us, there were some very interesting companies during the event. One of them that I love was, it's called Chipped. So I don't know if you heard, but they have, I actually have it at home, nail extensions with a chip inserted in them.
Okay.
And I thought that this is so cool. This is so cool and practical. So the idea is that you glue the nail, and it has a chip, so an NFC chip. So you can scan that chip if you're like on a meeting or something, and the person just gets all your details. So, now we do it through like different, when we go around conferences during NFC, but Monica, I'm sure you saw the badges, right, that we had. So we could scan the badges. They had the NFC chip. You can just exchange the details with the person. Makes our life easier, right? So the same idea was implemented to that nail. And I think it's just cool.
It is cool.
And
it sure is better than like chipping it in your hand, like some people do,
absolutely,
which I'm not gonna do, but I would do the nail maybe. No.
Why?
Just because I don't always want to be tracked. I like the fact of something being easy and convenient, but I also want to maybe go in nature sometimes and not be tracked, for example. So not gonna chip myself, but maybe the nail.
Okay, you see, I don't mind. I'm a believer that can make our life easier, so I don't mind. If they need to chip me, I'm fine. We're slowly getting to that. I know.
What do you think? Lindsay, what do you think?
Yeah, if somebody's gonna do an incision, I want to be awake. I want to be awake. I want to be asking questions. I want to be able to make the chip myself. If I can make the chip myself, then I print it and I can verify what's made out of the chip, I will probably, and it would make my life a lot, I would say significantly easier than I would do it.
But what if you want to take it out? What if you want to take it out?
Then it was a short-term procedure, I guess. I mean, I've done short-term procedures. I did laser on my legs so I didn't have to shave my legs, right? That didn't last a lifetime. 2 pregnancies later, hair's back.
All right.
And that wasn't pain-free. Let me just say that. So
yeah, no, each to their own. Each to their own. Yeah.
But with the nail chip is fun. Going back to that company, I think it's a fantastic idea. And I know that I heard about several other companies, they have a similar idea. So probably that's going to be a new thing. It's going to go viral. I love this idea. I love when it's combined with something fun. The technical side, the technical aspect is not just like, a boring chip or just a boring technology that we're asking brands to use. It's something fun. And the nails were one of it. So I've also seen a trend during the conference, during that event, during the event, there was a Phygital Fashion show of a designer, Olska Green. And I've seen a lot of interest. There was a great, cool young crowd that came to watch the show, like her small, the fan group of the brand. And Olska, she produces Phygital collections. She was one of the first designers to start doing that before it was a thing several years ago. I think that the young crowd, for them, digital fashion is something natural. And I believe that in the future, the younger generation, the Gen Alpha that we're having right now, for them, these old things like digital twins and digital product passports and AR try-ons, that's like a norm. That's going to become like a normal thing. That's going to be like part of normal traditional fashion. It's not an innovation for them. It's not like some technical aspect. It's not some cool additional tool. It's just part of the item. Now, I've already seen it looking at that crowd, looking at her show. So that was interesting to see.
Yeah, we actually attended the Metaverse Fashion Week last year in the Centerland and in Ready Player Me in Somnium Space. And I think it wasn't, there wasn't a big one this year, but hopefully next year we'll be able to attend it again. And you also have done some things with Decentraland. Maybe you can talk about like the NFT aspect and how you can, use it.
Yeah, absolutely. We did collaboration with Decentraland. That was back last year. Right now, as I'm aware, Decentraland is not promoting the fashion sites any longer.
Boo! Decentraland,
Yeah.
come on, what are you thinking?
But I think that they're just focusing on other aspects of the business, which is completely fine. They're going through a transaction, I believe, which is normal. But other virtual worlds, they're paying a lot of attention to the fashion sector. So when I'm speaking about virtual worlds and metaverses, when we talk about metaverses, what is metaverse? Metaverse is not only games and metaverses as Decentraland and Sandbox. Metaverses is the virtual reality that we live in every day. Even us right now recording the podcast, we're kind of in a metaverse. And we could have been sitting here using our fashion garments already, our digital fashion garments.
Next time.
Yeah, next time. We're not, right? But we could have.
Not yet.
Yeah. There are several projects that allow us to do so, but I think we're just at the beginning of this path. The quality probably is not there yet, but that will change. Just give it some years. That's completely.
Yeah, I've been checking out DressX a little bit. And like you said, it's not quite there yet, but you just got to keep going, innovating, refining, and you definitely will get there eventually.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe in a year or two.
Yeah, important to start. Is the same with the AR try-ons, so with the mirrors and the cameras. Yeah, the technology is not ideal right now. Yes, there are like certain issues. It doesn't look as realistic as it looks in real life, but that's a matter of time. Technology is evolving in extreme progress, so just give it several more years.
Exactly, and it moves so fast too. If you can see with AI what's happening, and even in blockchain, things are getting a lot better, a lot faster. You guys also chose Solana to build with them. Maybe you can speak about your relationship with them or your collaborationship with them, and what aspect of SEAMM is actually on the blockchain on Solana.
We chose Solana for our digital product passports. The digital product passports, I would actually like to talk a bit more about them, why we went for digital product passports and why we added them on blockchain before saying why Solana as well. So,
Lindsay, why don't you go ahead and ask your question? I'm so sorry to interrupt. Lindsay, why don't you go ahead and ask your questions in this section then?
Yeah, that sounds great. Segueing right into a section that we had planned was around digital product passport or DPP. So, Alexandra, for our listeners, could you just explain what a DPP is, how it works?
Sure. So digital product passport is a digital identity of a physical item. And recently, the European Commission that by 2026, 2027, all brands that want to sell their physical garments across European Union should have digital product passports for their garments. So what does that mean for the industry? That means that every brand, even if the brand is from US or from any part of Asia, but wants to sell across Europe, their garment should contain the information about the production and the materials. And this effort is important, again, for the sustainability practices. It's important to help end users make well-informed choices. I think that this is a great step forward for the industry in general. And even thought the first version that the European Commission introduced is just, okay, materials, production, where the materials were sourced from. We believe that this is just the first version of it. And as we spoke, how slow the industry sometimes is to adapt to those trends, it's important to give the brands time to implement those changes, because in the future, I'm sure that the requirements will change and brands need to start somewhere. So additional product passport. So how does it work? How does it work for the end user? Okay, so you go to the store, you buy a garment, and there are several ways how you can get access to the digital product passport. While the commission asked brands just to add that information on their website and on their label, the physical label, there's no specific requirements where the digital product passport needs to be stored at the moment. It's just about what it should contain. You can check on the label when you look on your garment. You can check all the information, like, okay, so it's 100% cotton. The cotton is from China, and the item is produced in India. That information should be transparent and honest. But we went a step further. And as the main idea of the digital product passport is to promote the sustainability and the transparency, the only way to actually guarantee that is through blockchain. In our opinion, the only way to make it traceable and transparent is adding it on blockchain, because how else can we guarantee to customers that this information is true to fact? So again, blockchain has a lot of benefits, as I said before, and one of them is you add that information on blockchain, and speaking in simple words, the information stays in that place. It's not going to go anywhere. If you just add it to an Excel file in your, I don't know, or into your CRM system, what if it just goes down? Where are you going to find that information? How are you going to be able to find it? And that issue happens quite often, not just in the fashion industry, just in general. So we took a step further and we added the digital product passports on blockchain. That's why we went with Solana right now. And the idea is that how it will work for our customers. So when you're going to buy something, let's say you're buying a t-shirt, the t-shirt will contain either a QR code or an NFC chip, which you can scan. So you scan it with your phone and you get redirected to a web page. On that web page, you have all the information about the product. Not just the materials, not just the care label. You can have even more things that the brand wants to add. Maybe, okay, where's the best place to repair the item? Who owned the item before you? You can track all that information because it's all on blockchain. So by claiming the item, when you're going to claim the item, you're going to automatically authenticate it, and you can be sure that it's a real item, it's a genuine item from the brand, and you can check, okay, maybe you bought it, what if you bought it on eBay or any other resale platform? As you know, right now, the resale part of the fashion market is 10% and is growing. 10% is a lot. So it's important for end users to be able to scan the item and be sure that it's a real item, not fake. You know, the counterfeit is like it's a big problem in the industry still, and it's growing. So digital product passports can prevent that. And when you're scanning it, you're sure it's a real item, so you can check who owned the item before you. I don't know, maybe it was your favorite, I don't know, singer. Who do you like, guys? Do you like Beyonce, Drake?
Yeah, I was going
whoever,
to
maybe
ask
he
you,
owned it?
Alexandra, actually, if you had any collaborations or brand partnerships that you could mention or real life examples just to give some of our listeners of real life flavor for these digital product passports.
Yeah, we fortunately I won't be able to drop big names yet, just under NDA, because we just launched the digital product passport. I mean,
Gotcha.
okay, you'll be one of the first to know when it's out there. I
Let's
guarantee
just
that.
say
But I'll
big
share
brand
with you
who
first.
works in glamorous fashion, right? And could you maybe just sell like or you could just say a product, a big brand. Like, let's just say if it's a purse or a shoe, for example. We don't have to name any names, but let's say it's a luxury shoe and you want to know, are these red bottoms? You know, who made these? Because now it could be, I've seen Tom Ford with the red bottom shoe. I've seen Christian Louis Vuitton. I've seen other Brit Kate Spade with different color bottom shoes. So it's like, okay, it's not necessarily one fashion label, but I want to verify who it is. And they look like they're, you know, especially if you're on the secondhand market, because a lot of people are going to secondhand market. So they want to verify because they're not going to an online retailer or an in-store retailer. They're at a secondhand shop. So what can you maybe break down? Let's say Lindsay, I'm buying this shoe. How would I go about the process of going through the verification?
So you're gonna use your phone and scan the NFC chip inside the item. Once you're gonna do that, again, you're gonna get redirected to a page that will contain all the information about the item, including when the item was made, from which collection of the brand, maybe it was a special drop. You will have that information. You will also get the information of who owned the item before you, if the item was claimed. Again, we're just at the beginning of digital product passports, but in a couple of years, this will also change, because the longer we have it, the more information the item keeps. Again, if some celebrity owned the item before you and the seller on the Real is stating that, hey, actually, you know, let's say Timothée Chalamet owned this item before, and you're like, really? How can you guarantee that? So you're gonna go, and when you're gonna scan it, it'll actually show you that he actually owned it or not. Because if he claimed it before, that information will be in that digital product passport. So it's completely transparent, and you can track it all up until the creation of the item, until the very first idea that was in, you know, in the designer's mind, where the items were sourced, where that leather for that shoe was sourced from, where was the shoe actually
I could see, was
made?
this a baby cow? Was this an adult cow? Was this cow raised in Africa, Norway, in a field, or was it like a cattle ranch? You know, so that would be interesting when you think about ethical.
Right. Let's just break it down. So basically, when it's created, people scan the item, upload it to the blockchain, and you can't change the blockchain. When it's up there, it's up there. It's not like some kind of Excel sheet or database where you can go in and change something. No, when it's on there, it's on there. Then the next person gets it, scans it, uploads it to the blockchain. So you can see now 2 steps. Okay, then what paint did they use? Okay, they use this kind of paint. That gets scanned, put on the blockchain. And then whoever buys it, what shop did it sell in? So that's how you can see the entire history, because it's immutable. You can't change the blockchain. So that's the real beauty. And That's
That
the
is, and I think
journey of it.
fashion should use blockchain more because if we want to be transparent about the process and want to benefit our end users, we want to see and track also what happened to the item after the user bought it. That's also a great way to do so because nowadays, the brand sells the item to the user and the brand doesn't know what happens after. The only information it gets is like, okay, maybe who bought it. I mean, if the customer is in their database, they will get that information. But they wouldn't be able to know what happened with the item after. They wouldn't be able to know, okay, maybe the item actually, had to be repaired 5 times, or the zipper broke on those trousers in time. So they're facing a production issue, but they don't know about it. They could have changed it, but they don't. But with having digital product passports and adding in a blockchain, we can solve that in a very easy way because every time something is going to happen to the item, the user can just add that, information, and that's it, and the brand will be able to see and track. And okay, maybe that material was not the best. Maybe they should change something in production. Was it resold? How many times was the item resold? What was the added value? Or maybe the user just wore it once and threw it in the bin. Or, you can track so many things.
And not only that, but it also allows these fashion brands to have a direct link to their customer. So if you have an item with a chip, basically you have a wallet, a blockchain wallet, and then you can send them other perks. So it's that direct contact with the consumers as well. So that's pretty valuable.
Yeah, like complementary products. The value is really clear here. Not only that, brand can get even cash back on the resale every time the item is sold. Can also offer other services. So okay, imagine as you mentioned, Monica, that's a very good point. So when you see that, okay, your customer has the last bag from your collection, you can offer complimentary pair of shoes because you can see what the customer owns. Usually when you buy something in store, a lot of customers, they don't want to leave the details, and that's completely normal. Or when you shop online, you shop on their fake, not a fake, but not your main, email address. Some people don't leave their details. I completely understand. But when a user claims the item and adds it to their, let's say, we can call it a virtual wardrobe. The more items the customer adds there, the more items the customer claims, the easier it is for the brand to understand, okay, so this is actually what the user owns. That is actually what he likes. And that's what we're going to offer to him. So it's going to make the whole process smooth. So maybe in the future, okay, I'm talking about maybe, again, 10 years, but it's great to think about it and just imagine. You're going to go to a store. And before you even enter that store, the sales associate, or maybe it's going to be robots, we don't know yet, they will know what you own, what you already have in your wardrobe, and what you need. So they will know what to offer straight away before you even enter the store. Wouldn't it make life easier and save a lot of time and help again the production? Because the brands will also know what the users want. They will not need to have this excess stock, which goes on 70% sale and then sometimes adds, in the bin or destroyed. Unfortunately, this is still an issue of the industry. Again, so many benefits. I can talk about it forever because I believe in the value of the digital product passport on chain. It's just insane.
Yeah, I think that I was also thinking, I know today we're talking about fashion and digital fashion, but for example, if you're a food company and you had this digital product passport, recalls, for example, I don't think fashion items are recalled very often, but food items are recalled all the time. And so that could save lives with the DPP and that being there. Because then you can automatically just scan it on your refrigerator and know, is this one of the ones that is going to be recalled for X, Y, and Z contaminant? So I think, the use cases is really across industries, and it's exciting to see how it continues to develop. Because yeah, I've seen some of these smart refrigerators that Samsung produced. They are scary smart on what they can predict. And so if I can think, okay, not in my refrigerator, but on my closet door, I have this scanner and it can tell me everything and it's connected to my favorite shops. Impressive.
And also it could probably suggest what you should wear, because that takes me forever till I figure out what I should wear, because I'm not like one of these tech geeks that only wear the white t-shirt or the black polo. I like a little bit of color, and so sometimes it takes a while, but yeah, it'd be good to have AI to say, okay, maybe you can wear this and this.
But do you remember that film, Clueless, in the
I love
90s?
it.
So yeah, when she goes to the wardrobe and she's like, okay, what am I gonna wear today? And she just like scrolls the screen and it kind of puts the outfit together for her. There are several companies that already are working on this technology, and several companies out there. I have like around 5 apps on my phone for the virtual wardrobe. Yeah, the virtual wardrobe AI. And why it's still not as big as it should be is because not all the items we have are digitized. Right now, you need to go through every single item of your wardrobe. You need to scan it, add it to the system, and then it would put together the outfits. And I know that all of us were busy, we don't have time, but if we're going to have all the items in the digital format originally when we buy them, and they will automatically be added to our virtual wardrobes, those programs will benefit us so much, because I imagine that, okay, I scan all the items I buy, right? I claim my digital product passport and I have them all in one place. Then that program can suggest what to wear. And that's so cool when I think about it. It's like you're just gonna put like, okay, it's like 30 degrees outside there. I'm going on a business meeting. I want like casual, but still a bit fancy. And it just suggests what you should wear from your wardrobe, and then just add what you should buy if you're missing it, if you want to buy it, of course. So many things are going to happen.
I think it would also be good for safety too. So whether you're a store or it's your home and you want to know when the item is leaving the premises, you could have a scanner at your entry and your exit to know, oh, okay, well, this is let's say it's your Rolex and it has a chip in it. You can know and get a text message on all of your devices whenever it's going to leave your premises. Oh yeah, it's just my daughter borrowing my Rolex, no big deal. Or you maybe you're concerned you have a big party and you don't know everyone who's coming through the door, and you want to make sure all of your goods are there. So your top luxury items, you have them chipped with a DPP, and if they're going to leave the premise or not. So I'm super excited about all of what the impact and the work that SEAMM is doing to educate these brands, because it's not moving fast enough for me.
I agree. We're working on it, Lindsay. We're working on it. So I cannot promise anything, but we are doing our best.
Yeah. So turning direct to you, Alexandra, what do you think drives you day to day? Like would you say that you have a personal mission to do X, Y, and Z? I'll take myself, for example. For myself and everything that I do, I think of the acronym TAG. I want to be teaching, advising, and I want to be growing in my life. And so when I approach, whether it's the Anyas or how I'm interacting with my daughter, I want to be doing something that aligns with what I felt like God set me on earth to do. So, for you, Alexandra, what is it that drives you?
I think that what drives me the most is self-growth and understanding that I'm able to change something in the industry that I genuinely love, which is the fashion industry. I feel that this is one of my missions in life, even though it sounds loud, but that's the way I feel. I wake up every day and I think there's so much to do. There's so many ways how we can change things for the better, and we can address the issues. We can fix them. We can help the industry move forward. And for me, it was always important to make that change. And I think I always knew that it's going to take me a while to understand the industry from inside, and then to create something to help it evolve, because I'm really interested in being part of the world progress, seeing the changes, seeing what's going on, and being at the forefront, being a pioneer. Because for me, it's important to be one of the first, being part of the history of the technical changes in fashion. So I think every day I wake up knowing that there's so much to do and we need to work hard and just go for it.
That's amazing. Yeah, growth and going for it, because I can relate to that, because when we talk to various female founders, they just pop out of bed with inspiration, ideas, and this internal mission and drive. And so, where you're coming from is the growth and so much that you can contribute. I think people, especially young women, are going to be really inspired to do that, whether it's in fashion or another industry. I hope that if Alexandra is inspiring you, dear listener, please leave a review and let us know, because I think that today's conversation isn't going to cover everything, and we want to have her back when we hear the future of what SEAMM has accomplished. And once we can announce those big brands, we want to cover that on a future episode. You're in a rapidly changing industry and you have worked within fashion. What do you think stands out about your particular leadership, your style? I have some additional questions, but let me just start there.
Okay, so difficult to talk about myself, to be honest. Easier to talk about the industry or the players or the technology, but it's always difficult to talk about myself. I think that one thing that for sure also helped me during my path was that I wasn't afraid of challenges and I had no fear.
You're thinking about when you came into crypto, for example, because you said that you had no fear and you're just willing to start at the bottom, whether that's intern or, for just working for pennies at the beginning, because we know that interns don't necessarily get paid the top dollar.
I was working for free.
Who is it? Okay, there you go. Working for free. I've been there too. Because you just get impassioned about something. What I'm thinking is, who is it who first educated? I don't know if it was a virtual mentor or somebody that you met face to face, but how did you start learning about blockchain?
I think it was me constantly looking through the news and through what's going on in different industries in general, and seeing that this is something really beneficial for the fashion industry, and yet it's not widely used. So I started to look into different companies that do use blockchain and use their own protocols, such as Ariane, working with Montclair, them having digital product passports, but that didn't seem enough because the industry is big. And if we're just going for several players, again, that's just top of the iceberg, right? So I think when I started to learn about blockchain and understand it better, that's how we came into those into that solution of digital product passports on blockchain. And also one thing about blockchain, by the way, why we went with Solana, it was really important for us to scale the solution, because when we're talking about digital product passport or putting, just in general, putting the items on blockchain, putting the information on blockchain, we're not going to do it for one item or two. We're going to do it for thousands of items, for tens of thousands of items. That is the idea. So it's important that you can scale the solution. And Solana was that company that could provide us with it. And the cost is very good. It's low. They're able to scale it quickly, effortlessly. The solution is user-friendly. Those were three reasons why we went for Solana for now. I mean, I'm not saying that this is not going to change. It might change. We might go for other blockchains. But for now, that was the best option for sure.
Yep. I'm definitely a believer in Solana, and I'm excited to see people building with Solana and what they have to offer. I think they're a great solution for a lot of builders, and I'm excited to see them continue to scale, as well as SEAMM continue to scale with their technology. So from what you told me so far, and from our brief meeting today on today's podcast, because this is the first time you and I have met is on the podcast, I would categorize you as an introvert, because when you said, "Oh, I went to the news to look for the solution," because me being super extroverted, I'm gonna call my best friend, "Hey, have you heard of this thing called blockchain? Tell me everything you know about it." Or, "Hey, mom, I heard about blockchain. Can you tell me everything that you've heard about it?" Or, "Hey, Monica, what do you know about blockchain?" I'm going to ask one of my friends. And you're like, "Okay, let me gather the facts on the news and read about it." And then maybe you talk about it later after you've gathered all of your facts and your data points. Right. So
That's usually how I work. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say you're probably introvert. You're probably the sensing type. Have you done the Myers-Briggs before, Alexandra?
No.
So Myers-Briggs is a personality type test within psychology.
I am.
And I have used it to make leadership decisions, to categorize team members, and it can help in different team dynamics and coming to certain solutions. I'm not here to say that it's the best personality assessment in the world. I'm just saying that it's one of the more common ones, and so people often know whether they're an introvert, whether an extrovert, and then some of the other categories can help say, okay, well, or it can also help to resolve conflict. Like, let's say you have a team member and you're like, "How come you always send me an email? Can't you just come by my office to resolve an issue instead of sending me an email?" And then they might say, "Oh, well, I'm an introvert. I like to write everything, think about what I want to say, and have a record of it. That's why I like to send an email." And an extrovert might be just like, "Oh, just come by my office, please. This email stuff is driving me up the wall," right? And so you can resolve conflict if you know, okay, well, this is why they tend to go for it. So I would say, at least I asked for you. I don't know you well enough yet to know the other two areas, but I would say, since you have most CEOs are a J, and we've talked a lot about time and how you want to get things done, and you have all of these ideas. So I would at least guess ISJ. And then, just because you are a CEO, usually it's also ISTJ in the thinking, because you want to get stuff done first. So you're thinking around it more than just thinking of the personal impact and the feelings that people might have, which is an F type there, or the feeling type. But that's just my quick. I love to talk about team dynamics and solutions. So part of the podcast, I'm doing a series in season 2 on knowing yourself, knowing your team, and also how it can be decisions or conflict. So I just like to put in that little flavor for our listeners, and as well as for you, Alexandra, if that can help as you move through your team dynamics and conflict resolution. Because moving fast, running a company, dealing with other personalities, conflict arises naturally, right? So
Absolutely. That was actually really interesting. I love to know a bit more about myself, and you were right. I am introvert. Some people call me an extroverted introvert. So I do gather the information first myself, and only then I go and ask questions. But when I ask questions, I ask everybody. I think people just are like, "Oh my God, just Alex, stop." But I kind of dig deep inside, because for me it's important to know the information first from all the resources, and then to kind of have already the structure to know the basics, and then go and ask questions. So I love to do research, and I love to reflect. I think it's very important. And also It's an interesting way in managing the team as well. When you know the personalities, I use a bit of a different approach. Yeah. And by the way, I'm reading one incredible book. I'm sure you read it before. For me, I only started. It's called Radical Candor from Kim Scott. Fantastic. I would actually like to recommend this book to any of our listeners because that's something that should change your work dynamic in the team.
Great. Yeah, with the Anyas, there's Monica and I as the co-founders, and we have very different personalities. So I know that you're also a co-founder and a co-CEO. Can you speak a little bit to differing personalities, how you decided to team up with your particular co-founder, and any other tips to future co-founders out there when finding the right co-founder and making it work?
I think it's really important to complement each other. And I think best teams are built out of people who have different strengths. For example, if I'm going to be the public person of the company and I'm going to be out there speaking, attending events, doing all the business development side, and being that, even though I am an introvert, I'm going to come across as an extrovert going out there. The second co-founder has different strengths. He's very strong in terms of the technical aspects. He's incredibly smart and he would know how to form a technical engineering team. We have a fantastic development team. We have 14 people right now in-house building the product. That's quite a big team for a startup. And I think it's important that the co-founders, they complement each other on the strengths. And I also think it's important to look in general for, let's call it, stars of the company. Especially when you're a startup and not a big corporate business. So the difference between a startup and a corporate company is that corporate company would need more, let's say, working hands, but the startup will need more people who can make decisions on its own, decision makers, people that are driven, like self-motivated and want to achieve big heights in life, if you can call it that way, passionate about what they're doing. And that's usually on a different level. They're not just going for work just for, I don't know, the salary that we're offering. They're not just there for just having a job. They're there for changing the industry. They have the same idea and they can bring more to the table than I can. If I'm hiring like a marketing manager, I want him to know marketing better than I do, right? If I want to hire head of like the design lead, I want to have the art director. I want him to be much better than I am. I want to be like, oh, wow, I never heard about that. I want the team to challenge me, basically. I don't want to be the smartest in the room. You know, as they say, if you're the smartest in the room, you're in the wrong rooms, and that's true. So you want people to compliment you and to know the industry and to show it from different angles and aspects, to do their own research, to be interested. So it shouldn't be in a way that you're just sitting there and you're motivating people and that's all you're doing. People need to be motivated by themselves. They need to have a purpose. They need to have their own passion. They need to love what they're doing themselves. And that's, I think, what forms a good startup. And that is what's important, that you're all on the same path. You're on the same mission and you want to achieve the same end result. You want to succeed.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Thank you for sharing those tips to inspire others, and the book, your favorite book, Radical Candor. That is one that our good friend Amanda has also recommended to us. So it's moving up. We have a long list of books that Monica and I want to read, but just because of your recommendation, it's moving closer to the top. So thank you for your book recommendation to future entrepreneurs and anyone working in a team. I think that's from what Amanda told me as well, is it can really help and benefit. Yeah, I think that we're running out of time quickly like we anticipated. Where can our listeners learn more about you, Alexandra, and the future of fashion tech?
So I would love all our listeners to download our app. It's called SEAMM, and it's available on App Store and Google Play. Please feel free to download it and check all the benefits, all the coolest features we have there to offer for the digital fashion industry. You can purchase physical items, get the digital twins. You can try the items with the AR try-on feature, transfer it to games, customize the items and everything that's been mentioned before. You can also check SEAMM on SEAMM.io online. We also have a very interesting blog where we publish information about all the industry updates. That might be really interesting. We have a newsletter right now that you can subscribe on to our website. So please feel free to also follow us on Instagram and TikTok, where we post all the latest updates and collaboration. You can see the brands that joined our company. You can see the new technologies that we're offering and where the business is going overall. So, and you can also find me on LinkedIn or Instagram. I'm happy to connect with anybody who's interested. If you have any ideas to share or if you want to collaborate, we are really open. I'm open to new possibilities. So please feel free to get in touch.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you so much for joining Monica and I today, Alexandra. It is an inspiration to hear about how you're innovating and how you are bringing together an incredible team with SEAMM. We will hopefully see you around Europe at a future conference. So, stay tuned on the Anyas as well as SEAMM.io to see where all of us will be attending our future conference. I would also like to encourage our listeners to stay tuned for the Know Yourself, Grow Yourself segment that I tease a little bit on the personality side, as well as team dynamics and conflict resolution. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. Like and subscribe to never miss an episode. We've got some fantastic content lined up. Leave us a comment and review to help us grow.
Last but not least, let's connect on social. Follow us on X, theanyas_io, and theanyas.io on Instagram and TikTok for exclusive content. Thanks again for being part of the journey, and see you in the next episode.